Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day. Happy Friday, as always, on the podcast. And if you guys like Halloween, happy Halloween. This was our first Halloween with our daughter, where she dressed up and we took her to the neighbor's house. She's only 1.5, so she had got a fairy outfit. We walked over to the neighbor's house, and it was fun. I'm excited for when she's older and we get to actually do the full strip. But hope you guys are having a good day. It's a good day for a second reason. We got Brad Chandler with us on the podcast. Brad has done over 4,000 homes across the country with Express Home Buyers. He is also with Limitless You, his coaching program. So Brad has a ton of wisdom to share with us today. Brad, thanks for hopping on the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. I told you before we got on here, we always like starting with stories and hearing how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and tell us how you get here?
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 9th grade. I read a book by Robert Allen on how to buy real estate with no money down. And 30 years later, which was 2 years ago, I got to meet him in person. So nice. Yeah, that's it. That was when my journey started. And then in 2002, an investor bought my neighbor's house in Vienna. And I didn't know he was an investor. I just went over and started talking to him because he took this like rundown house that was right in front of me that I didn't really know what to do with. And he turned it into this really nice house. And he goes, yeah, I buy houses below market and resell them. And I was like, wow, that's what I'm going to do. I don't remember them saying that in the book. I thought they were talking about getting rich in real estate through like holding property. So that was December-ish of 2002. And I spent 8 long months finding my first deal. And then in July and August of 2003, I bought 6 houses, went to my boss in October of 2003 and told him I quit, came home and told my wife at the time. And she's like, are you crazy? We have a newborn son and I have 2 kids that you're supporting. Like, what are you thinking? I'm like, it'll be okay. And here we are, 22 years later and 4,500 houses, and it's been okay.
Yeah, that is quite the story. And kudos to her to going along with it, because I'm sure that was scary for her as well. So one thing that I wanted to point out in that story is 8 months. Whenever, people will reach out to me and they're thinking about getting started and they're like expecting the first deal to happen within the first couple of weeks. For pretty much everybody I know. For me, when I got into commercial, it took me, I think it was over a year to get my first deal. It took you 8 months to get your first deal. So deals come slowly when you first get started, when you're building that machine, you're building the engine. Over time, it'll start to crescendo and you'll get more deals one after the other. But when you first start, it does take time, as your story shows. But then it looks like in July of that year, you bought 6 houses at once. Go into that.
Yeah,
why all of a sudden?
All of my efforts, like I was working my ass off. So my son had just been born in July the previous year. So I'd come home I was working a full-time job. I'd come home at 6 and be with him from 6 to 8, put him to bed, and then work from 8 to 11. I'd be pounding "We Buy Houses" signs, writing hundreds of envelopes or letters. I mean, I was doing everything, door knocking, everything you can think of. And I guess all of that effort kind of, just rolled downhill, right? And snowball effect. And boom, I just got 6 houses all of a sudden. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. That, it's funny that also happened to me on the commercial side when I'd done mobile home parks and I got into self-storage, and I just kept pounding it until I bought 4 self-storage facilities within a span of like a month or 2 months. Wow. And I only say that to highlight the story on both of our sides for people out there. The effort you're putting in, though you feel like nothing is happening, it is happening. You're building the machine, you're putting your energy out there, and things do come back to you. You just got to be consistent. You got to be that's it. You got to be consistent over a long period of time till things.
And you're learning, right, the whole time. So do you know how many people in this world have given up right before their breakthrough? You look at Jack Canfield. He's the publisher of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He he went to 121 publishers before
Jeez.
that 122nd one said, "Hey, I'll take this book." What if he had stopped at 70 or 80 or 119? He
Yep.
just kept going, and that's how it was with me. I kept going to these RIA meetings and seeing people holding up these checks and talking about the money they were making, and I just kept saying to myself, "If they can do it, I can do it,"
Yep.
and that's what happened.
Yep. Yeah. It's it is difficult to continue effort when you don't see results. But that is, I mean, that's the price you got to pay in order to actually get the results. Because, you know, a lot of times it doesn't actually happen for you until you get that incremental learning, the incremental effort, and it, you know, all starts to click. So you bought those 6 houses. It started to click for you. What happened after that point? I mean, you're at 4,000. You said 4,500 now. Tell us about the actual creation of the company, how you started building processes, all that stuff.
Yeah, so in October that year when I quit, I had been looking for a partner for many months because I wanted one. I didn't have any money. I think I had a negative $80,000 net worth when I started from graduate school, and so I wanted someone that had some money and that could help me. And I also wanted a quality of life. I didn't want to work 100 hours a week and never take a vacation because that was a point of getting into business. It was to have the freedom. So one of the first books I ever read was E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And it's all about processes and systematizing your business. Whether you're going to open one shop or 5,000 shops, you should have everything processed. So documented and systematized. So that's what we started doing. And my partner and I, unfortunately, were both and still are both visionaries. So
Mm.
we really, really struggled with the process. We hired a consultant from eMyth who was really, really great from the Gerber Institute, and he helped us along. And what we did is I can remember coming into the office like 2 months into business and saying to my partner, "Why are we doing the same things? Like this makes no sense. I'm going to go on the appointments. I'm going to close the house. You deal with the finance side, getting it financed, and you deal with the construction side." Until this day, like that's been the path too. I've done most sales and marketing, and he's been on the construction and finance side. So we just, so we split the duties. And then when we couldn't take them, we hired, the next person, which I think was an admin. And then we hired a salesperson, and we just kept building systems and hiring people.
Nice. So it is interesting that you guys are both, you kind of both orient yourself towards the world the same. You're both visionaries. And usually that people can butt heads when they have the same approach to solving problems, to building businesses. If they're both visionaries, you have problems. But it sounds like you guys were able to get past that. Tell us, walk us through how you were able to create a successful partnership. And I'm going to say on this note, the reason I'm asking is because a lot of people that come on the show, they say they don't like partnerships, but I'm a huge fan of partnerships. It makes you get more done, and the actual experience is more enjoyable. At least for me, like having partners, when I'm working with partners, I enjoy the process of creating businesses more. But a lot of people are against partnerships for various reasons. But so I want to hear from you. You created a partnership with two people that generally don't mix well, but you did it successfully. So how'd you do it?
Yeah, I don't know that it doesn't. I don't think it's necessarily they don't mix well. It's just their skill sets. All we want to do is like dream about what's the next thing, and
Mm-hmm.
neither of us are really excellent at implementing those ideas. So, I mean, I can't imagine not having this partnership after, because I have a coach, a really successful coach. It's like, don't ever partner with anybody. Do it on your own.
Yeah. So many people have come on this podcast and said that. And I always I get what you're saying, but I love partnerships. I think if you do them correctly and you guys both have the same values and you go into it, eyes wide open, then it can be a boon to both parties.
Yeah, he says something funny. He said something like 10 years ago, If not for Brad, we wouldn't have bought 4,000 houses. If not for me, we'd be bankrupt." And that's probably the truth. Like he's been the one several times to like pump the brakes and be like, "Hey brother, we cannot keep doing this way. We can't keep going this way." And then we've like done a massive shift. So I don't know. We've had a lot of chaos in our business, much less. So I went through a major life transformation 3.5 years ago, where I figured out that the whole reason I got into real estate was to make a bunch of money, because I thought it would bring me to this place of feeling happy and satisfied and being worthy. And that wasn't the case. And so that was a major shift for us, because 3 years ago, I realized I had nothing to prove. And so the chaos level has dropped dramatically, as I'm not trying to, chase these crazy things. Between 2005 and 2017, we made, primarily I was the driver, 5 business mistakes in the real estate business that cost us $9 million. Looking back as I deconstruct those, every one of those decisions or mistakes were around this feeling of not being enough. And, oh, if I can just do this and make this much money, I'll feel better about myself. And Gabe, that's like a lot. That's a lot of real estate investors, because I know a lot of real estate investors. I've been in this business for 22 years. They get into business thinking that if I can make $5 million or $10 million, I'm going to get to this place of happiness, worthiness, joyfulness. The trick is no amount of money will ever get you there. The irony is that we can get you to that state in literally like 5 weeks, 3 weeks. And then when you're in that state today, the chances of you getting to $5 million or $10 million go up astronomically, because you're not going to be like me, where you're chasing every shiny object that comes through, because it's almost like a survival thing. I need to make a bunch of money or no one's going to love me and I'm going to die lonely.
Yeah. Yeah. If you, and I feel like that really comes down to, I'm not going to, well, I guess I was going to say making decisions primarily with your ego. And so I'm just kind of reflecting on my own experience when I was first starting out, I was only chasing the dollar, and that's all that mattered. And you tend to make decisions that don't necessarily fit the grander vision of what you're trying to accomplish. For instance, you'll buy properties that aren't in a location you want, that don't fit if you're trying to focus on a certain asset, you're trying to focus on self-storage facilities, on single family flips, on whatever, you start to look outside of those because you just want the dollar. You only care about what you're looking for, or you only care about how much you make and not exactly what you're trying to build. And I feel like in my experience, that is the biggest detriment to actually achieving success, because you start to expand yourself beyond your actual skill set. And if you focus in and you get good at one thing, then you actually get, you do become wealthy. You actually do bring in the dollars. But if you're just chasing money, you make decisions that are outside of what you're trying to accomplish. Does that kind of align with what you're trying to say?
But Gabe, for me, it wasn't a conscious decision. So first of all, 95% of our behavior, whether it's in relationships with your wife or your children or your business or your health, 95% of your behavior is driven by your unconscious, your subconscious mind. So I didn't ever wake up and be like, well, I got to go open Virginia Beach, even though I don't have my systems together in DC, because I am unworthy. I didn't know. It was just forcing me to do that. So many entrepreneurs are looking for the next marketing campaign, the next mastermind, the next business coach. That's not what you need. You need to identify and release the limiting beliefs that are causing you to do these things. If your business is in chaos and you make 100,000 one month and you lose 100,000 next month, and you've got employees coming and going, and you're always just all over the place, it's not your fault, number one. And number two, all you have to do is figure out what is that thing driving the behavior, and then you can change it. That's what I help people do now every day, and it transforms people's lives and business.
Yeah, I will say, slowing down enough to where you can identify those things is very difficult when I'm thinking back to when I was doing my first flip and I was still working corporate. I had no money. I had put all of my money, literally every single penny, into this flip, and slowing down at that point when you have no money is extremely difficult, because it's a live or die, fight or flight kind of thing. So being able to get over that, being able to kind of step back, until that's the hard part, at least for me. And I know we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here. If I were to talk to my younger self, it would be difficult to advise that person to not just go for money, because I feel like you almost need to achieve a certain level of wealth in order to have these moments of clarity, these moments of acceptance of where you are, all that kind of stuff. You can't achieve that until you have financial wealth, because that is what gives you the security, or at least the peace of mind to be able to step back.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that if you step back earlier, the chances of your financial security are going to go way up. So it's like I developed this quiz for my old self, which is it's literally like a self-worth, self-love quiz. It will tell you if you have some of these limiting beliefs. You can go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz and take the quiz. But had I known some of these things, brother, I wouldn't have given away $9 million. If I'd had been able to do the work, I would have literally $6 million more in my bank account as we sit. Because every one of those mistakes, if myself now would have looked at it and been like, no, don't do that. Do this exact opposite, because you don't need to do that to prove anything. So I hear what you're saying, but if you want to do the work before, it's like change happens from desperation or inspiration. I'm hoping that by hearing this today, you'll be inspired to take the first step to see if you've got some of these limiting beliefs that are wreaking havoc on your business and personal life.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's take it back to real estate, to the deals that you have done. 4,500. Again, you've done quite a few of them, and it takes a long time and a lot of setup to get to that point. What's advice you can give people out there who are maybe they've done like 10 flips, 20 flips, something like that over the course of years, and they want to scale up? What are the first steps that you took in order to scale?
So I got to start by saying you've got to figure out your why. So just ask yourself, why do you want to scale? And then whatever the answer is, ask that 6 more times. So it's a total of 7, because if you have your why, it's going to be a lot easier to figure out where you want to go. In my case, I wanted to scale because my last question answer would have been because I don't feel enough. Then I could have been like, okay, this is what I have to deal with. But let's just say that you've done that exercise and you're like, I want to scale because I want to open a home in an orphanage in Mexico. Okay, great. Now, how do you scale? Well, you do some of the things that I said before. You look at, do you have systems and processes? Before you go open a new market, is everything working well? Where are the holes in your business? Where's the leaky bucket? You can just go through your entire business A to Z and systematize. Just literally, one of my mentors, who was a very successful pharmacist, he owned a bunch of pharmacies. He's like, Brad, don't complicate this. Get a freaking yellow pad out and just write your systems all the way down. And then look at where are the holes and where are the gaps and fix those before you go opening a new market or starting a new campaign or going after self-storage when all you know is single family houses. Don't go do something else until your stuff is really tight in your core business. Then when it is, then look, what is the next hire? What's the next marketing campaign? What's the next strategic move I should take? But do it from a basis of, again, if you have your why, it's going to be a lot easier to know how fast do I have to move and what's driving me to do this. And then you're going to make better decisions along the way. With me, you talked about fight or flight. That's all it was for me. I was literally, my primitive brain was saying, if I don't make a bunch of money, I'm going to get kicked out of the tribe and I'm going to be lonely and I'm going to die. So all of this was just this frantic, like, I got to make millions and millions. And it was never enough. It didn't matter how many millions I made. When you don't feel enough, you just need more and more and more.
Yeah. I will say on the processes note, I have found a really good way to start building processes. A lot of times people say, build processes, but nobody, you might not necessarily know how to do that. A really easy trick to build processes for your business is just, there are tons of tasks that you're doing naturally in your business. You're creating, you're getting lists to market to, you're creating, I don't know, tons of processes. While you're doing those, just record them using Zoom even, or any software that you have that records your screen and your voice. Record the process and then save it. Even if you're not making a hire at that point, you can go back later and look in your file and, make sure and label every single video exactly what the process is. And then you can take a number of those processes together that will fit a certain role, and you can hire somebody, a VA, to take on those roles, and you'll already have all of those processes set up. So if you guys want to build processes, you want to start to scale, marketing is the first one that always comes to mind to me, because it is very, it's very easy to systematize. And so if you can just record yourself doing all the marketing, if you're doing, off-market marketing, you can just record yourself doing those steps, hand it over to the VA, and then you'll be able to make that hire. So 4,500 houses in a single market is difficult. I'm sure you guys branched out. At what point did you make the branch outside of your immediate market?
So most of 90% of those 4,500 houses have been done in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, in the Baltimore and the DC metro areas.
Okay.
We've branched out to, we went to Richmond before, we went to Virginia Beach before, we went to Birmingham, Alabama. All of those failed, or we didn't go the way we thought.
Birmingham, interesting.
2 years, okay. Yeah, 2 years ago we picked LA. We've done a number of deals in LA. Right now, we're focused mainly on the DC metro areas, the Baltimore and DC. We still have a presence in LA, but we do get SEO leads from around the country. So it was, I think it was 2010 where we decided to go to Virginia Beach. And then we left and we came back. So most of the time we've spent, it is not easy to go to another market that you don't know. And every time that we did, we weren't ready to expand.
Interesting. Every time that you did, you weren't ready for it to expand. So, that is a big lesson in and of itself. What have you taken from that experience, from not failing, but from not being as prepared as you wish you would have when you expanded into a new market?
All of those were driven from my self-limiting beliefs of not being enough, right? And now that I know that I'm enough, we have re-entered Virginia Beach in the last 3 months, and it was just completely different. We had a plan, we had a strategy. We said here's how much money we're going to allocate to it. So I think I learned just make sure you know your why and what's driving you, and then make sure that you have a plan. You can commit to, I'm going to allocate this much money. I'm going to allocate this person to it. What's his name that ran GE for so many years? Jack Welch was always put your best person on the biggest opportunity. So if you're going to open a new line of business, or you're buying a company, whatever, make sure that you've got someone that's really good. Don't just go hire someone and stick them there. So those are some of the lessons we've learned.
Yeah, makes sense. So you mentioned SEO. It sounds like you guys do a lot of off-market stuff. Is SEO your main marketing method, or do you guys do mailers? Do you do texting? What's your inbound?
So I think if you look at our 22 years, we've probably got more deals from TV than anything else.
TV, interesting. You're TV, the second person that I've talked to that's done TV ads with success. It's definitely niche.
That's 22 years, right? I'm not giving you the last 6 years. Okay. I think if you look at the last 2 to 5 years, it's trending more towards, the Google pay-per-click than it is TV.
Pay-per-click. Okay. So you guys are running Google ads.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And so do you hire that out, or do you guys do that in-house?
No, we hired it. We've never done it in-house.
Yeah. You can definitely waste a lot of money on pay-per-click, especially in the I'll buy your house market or niche.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But let's go back to TV ads, because that is interesting. I have talked to a few people who have done it. You're not seeing as much success today in using TV ads?
It's just look, everything's more expensive, right? Everything's more expensive. There's more competition. So it's gone down. It's definitely gone down over the last 5 years as prices have gone up.
Got it.
It still works. We still do it.
Yeah. How are you running them at, midnight? Or are you running them, noon?
No,
give us a little bit more detail on it.
We're on all the major networks. We're running them all the time. Just, we're obviously targeting an older population. So any of the shows that we, 50 plus watch, then we're trying to be on those shows and networks.
That makes sense. Were you on the actual, airing?
I've been the one for all these years to get on and just, give my spiel. I've always been told I'm very trustworthy. And so that was probably originally around ego, and, but not really. Cause I said 10 years in or 5 years in, I was like, I'll put anyone on there if anyone can outperform me. So we did try some crazy stuff. We had a comedian. We had this guy talk me into having a comedian on there. Oh my God, it was such a bomb. Because this is, I mean, most people are in stress, right? They don't want,
Yeah, they don't want to laugh.
but that was my old self. That was my, well, I don't care if it's, as long as it can make millions of dollars. So I overlooked my, overrode my gut and went with this guy, and it was a disaster.
That's funny. No pun intended. Cool. So TV ads, Google ads. Do you guys do anything else besides online? Do you guys do mailers? Do you do calls?
We do direct mail. We've tried calls. It's never worked for us.
Yeah.
We do some Facebook ads. It's, we get one here and there, but not a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a whole team of cold callers working for us at one point, and I just was not, I have heard a lot of people have great success with cold callers, but I personally have not experienced it. I've done pretty much every single marketing strategy you can think of out there, and cold calling, for some reason, I just cannot get to work. Maybe it's the callers, I don't know, but for some reason it doesn't work on our end. All right, that wraps it up. Let's hop into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Starts with education. Could be any form. Could be a conference you've gone to, a book you read, mentorship program that you've been in. But I need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
So for the real estate, I've been in Collective Genius. It's a mastermind for, over 10 years. And it's brought me a lot of both business and personal success. On the life side, there's a book by Anthony DeMello called The Way to Love. It's a little pocket book. It's tiny. Each chapter is 4 or 5 pages, and it is just fascinating. It's what it uncovers about having like a joyous and free and happy life.
Cool. Love it. Next question is for your younger self. If you could go back to the Brad who is just starting out, I think you said 2009, go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
I think it's to know, live in the truth that you are enough, and that you don't have to prove anything, and that your real purpose on this earth is to make an impact. So figure out how you can make the greatest impact in this world.
There you go. All right. Next question is about the U.S. It is a big place. There is a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
I mean, it's the one that we're in. It's the Washington, D.C. metro, because it really is like one of the most stable given the government base of employment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Surprisingly, I think you're the first person to say DC, even like that surrounding area, which is surprising to me because of what you said. Government employees are stable, that, they get paid every single month without regard. And so it makes sense for that metro to be so stable for you. I'm just surprised that other people haven't been saying that, but I guess it really does depend on where you live. So next question is about finding deals. We've already kind of touched on this, but I'm going to ask it one more time. It all starts with generating leads and getting in contact with the seller. So what is your favorite way to find new deals?
Look, I think about if I had to go start over, move to Miami, I think it would be around a targeted list. I would get a targeted list, and I would do a multi-pronged approach where I was like literally trying to track down the owners, and then I would be direct mailing them. I'd be saying, hey, we just sent you a letter piece. TV, radio can be very expensive, and so many people hear it and they don't need to sell their house, or would never sell their house at the price that you need to buy it. So I think that's it. Just getting a very targeted list and then just working that list really hard.
There you go. All right. Next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal that we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, many times a deal goes a little bit sideways, but that's where we get to learn our biggest lessons. So what was a deal that went a little sideways for you? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
I mean, we bought a house in North Arlington in 2005 where we lost $925,000 on it.
Jesus.
The lesson didn't come until 3 years ago when I was going through my transformative journey, that I did it to prove my worth, to make a bunch of money. So that was the lesson, is just make sure you know your why behind. And often it's hidden in that subconscious mind. So that's why it's really important to take that quiz and see, do you have these limiting beliefs that are driving your behavior?
You lost $925 on it. This must have been a multi-million-dollar house.
It was this was the crazy part of it. It was a corner lot, and we were going to tear it down and put 2 like $1.5 million houses on it. And we went hard on the deposit, and the engineering company after we went hard on the deposit, the engineering company we hired was like, oh, we made a mistake. You cannot subdivide that lot.
Oh.
And it was an investor that we still deal with to this day, and we had no personal guarantees. We could have been like, sorry guys, we're out. We had no money, but that's not how we roll. We always do what's right. And so he gave us a little bit of break on the interest, not much, and gave us 2 years to pay it off. And we paid it off in 13 months. And those two brothers probably have lent us $200 million over the last 22 years.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, those development deals when you need a subdivision, development deals. I've never done one, but it sounds scary if you don't have the absolute certainty that you're going to be able to subdivide that.
Well, Gabe, the thing is, like, if I was just like taking my time and really doing the due diligence, but I was in like the fight or flight, we could have run a title report and seen in 15 minutes that the lot wasn't subdividable, but no one caught it. And we were just like, again, we were being driven. I was being driven by the, oh my God, we got to do this deal, because if we can build houses, I'm going to be that much more worthy.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. All right, next question is about raising money. I actually didn't ask you if you guys do raise money for your deals, but it sounds like at least you get loans. It does take money to make money in real estate. So what's your favorite way to raise capital for your deals?
I mean, we have that High Net Worth Brothers was from networking, and they have been our primary money source. Again, the return of capital, but everything that we borrowed from them has probably been in excess of $200 million of loans that they've done for us. We now have a local hard money lender that just gives us unbelievable rates. So we deal with them, and we deal with the hard money lender. So I think number one is networking, find people, and then get a track record and go to a hard money lender who will give you amazing terms.
Perfect. All right, that leads us to the last question. And I'm going to not caveat this, but add on to this about your coaching business, unlocklimitlessu.com. Limitless You is your coaching business. Go into that, tell what people can expect, and then how they can get in contact with you to get started.
Yeah, if you go to unlocklimitlessu.com/Brad, it has all of my links, including a podcast that we have. If you like this type of information or content, how to be happier for entrepreneurs. It's got the self-love quiz. It's got my contact information. It's got all my social media. But we have a 5 or 10 week program. Either 5 week is the mindset, the 10 week is the mindset plus the REI stuff. And literally in 5 weeks, your life can be transformed in ways that you might not even be able to imagine, because all of us, I've yet to meet someone who didn't have some limiting beliefs that were hidden in their subconscious that were formed decades ago that are still wreaking havoc on your business and your personal life and your health. So if I can be of help, reach out, and I'll do my best to help you.
Perfect. I'll put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out to Brad, just click a little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description in there. You can find his links. All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, easiest way is just leave us a review, or if you're watching on YouTube, just put a comment in the comment section. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.